Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. We begin tonight with a worrying increase in crime statistics, with new figures showing more offending across almost every major category. 7 Tasmania can reveal the past financial year has seen the highest number of offences recorded in 8 years. Michelle Wisby has a breakdown of the figures.
Tasmania Police has quietly released its latest statistics for the past financial year, and it's been a bad one for crime. The number of offences has increased by 6% and is at its highest level in 8 years. Across almost every major category of crime, there were increasing reports. Assaults rose 3%. Robbery saw a 23% hike with a total of 61 armed robberies. Burglaries increased by 14%, stealing by 7%. The number of stolen motor vehicle reports rose by 16% from the previous financial year. 78% of them were recovered. There were reductions in some measures. Reports of sexual assaults reduced by 8%. Arson and related offences slid by 4%. Now, some of the increases do come after a decrease in the year before, but amid the most recent rise in crime reports, the responses to the offences have taken a hit. What police call the clearance rate has slid from 51% to 47%. In the past, the release of these figures has been accompanied by a media release and a press conference, but not this year. Tasmania Police has been much more low-key with these worrying figures.
The son of a shopkeeper who was brutally stabbed in North Hobart has spoken out against the prison system at a coronial inquest. Vula Delios was attacked and the attacker was released the day before she was killed while suffering from severe mental delusions.
This tragic day will never be forgotten by the Delios family. The 68-year-old shopkeeper stabbed to death outside her North Hobart grocery store by Daryl Royston Wayne Cook in 2016. He was found not guilty on the grounds of insanity. The Supreme Court previously heard Mr Cook was released from prison the day before the brutal attack. Vula Delios' eldest son, today speaking out for the family, left angered by the system.
Really unstable, he was violent, and what they should have done is actually provided extra care to help him. And what they did is released him out into the public, and this is the outcome. You see, if it wasn't my mother, it would have been somebody else's mother.
The coroner today hearing his outcry in a witness impact statement. Mrs Delios' daughter Maria Hall also spoke, saying her mother was the heart of the family, that she'll never come to terms with her death and will never feel safe again. The inquest also hearing from lead investigator Detective Sergeant Adam Stanwyck. He said violent prisoners who are released are documented on an online database. But Mr Cook had not come under police attention prior to the incident. Closing submissions are expected to be delivered within the next 8 weeks. Ruby Kamane, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government has been accused of slashing health funding as the Treasurer works to find efficiencies in his budget. It comes as the Speaker faced another day of scrutiny over her controversial call for a pay rise. Labor saying the power has gone to her head.
Health professionals demanding a meeting with the Speaker.
We are continually working at 110%. It is harder for us to give more and more. We do need more resources and more support to continue to provide the services.
Calling for a wage increase in line with Sue HICKEY's controversial call for a pay rise. They were quickly turned away, but inside Parliament, the Speaker again lashed out at Labor for pushing the issue.
You have made some incredible statements in this Parliament about what is being asked for, and you have no idea. So there's a lot of mistruths you've been peddling.
The power seems to have gone to her head, and this week she has been acting in a way that is unbecoming of the Speaker of the Parliament.
Labor concerned the Treasurer's efficiency dividend will impact the embattled health service. Raising concerns in Parliament, health cuts have put at risk the equivalent of 37 paramedic jobs and reducing elective surgeries.
We've put additional funding into health. It's not unusual to look at efficiencies, and that's exactly what we're doing, and it will not impact on frontline essential services.
There are $450 million in cuts, and the Health Department, by all accounts, has had a Hodgman Razor gang enter their premises this week to start inflicting that damage.
They work tirelessly every day to provide critical services to our community, and for the Premier to say that there could be efficiencies, etc., is totally unacceptable and a real insult to those workers.
Bringing to an end a dramatic week inside Parliament. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
In a first for the state, 3 Tasmanians have today changed their birth certificates as controversial new gender laws take shape. But despite the celebrations, the state government says it's still monitoring the legislation that was passed without its blessing.
Raising a glass to a moment in history. These Tasmanians are the first to make a legal change for their gender identity. Emotions running high after years of campaigning.
For me personally, it was just a fantastic moment. It meant that I haven't wasted the last 15 years of my life.
A new updated birth certificate that says that I'm non-binary, and that is the most exciting thing. I actually didn't expect it to be as emotional as it was. It was a really powerful moment.
New controversial reforms allow transgender Tasmanians to alter or remove gender completely from birth certificates coming into effect today. The bill passed Parliament in April, despite long-term opposition from the state government.
We'll be monitoring the laws because, as everyone knows, the laws were not part of the Hodgman government's law reform agenda.
It says to all Tasmanians that we are an inclusive society, that we do take into account the needs of minority groups rather than simply governing and passing law for the privileged.
And while the champagne flows today, the future of the laws remain uncertain.
We need to take a considered approach, we need to take advice, and we need to consult with the wider public and also legal stakeholders. That wasn't done properly.
The sky has not fallen in, and that the world has been unaffected for 98% of the population, and for the other 2% it's just got a little bit easier to live on a daily basis.
Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
Richmond star Jack RIEWOLDT is the latest figure to throw his support behind a Tasmanian AFL team. RIEWOLDT says it's a no-brainer to establish a side in his home state once a number of hurdles have been cleared.
Jack RIEWOLDT's hungry to take on the Lions this weekend and to see Tasmania finally join the AFL.
There's so many great players in the competition, present and past, that have come from the Apple Isle, and it just shows for me that it's a real no-brainer.
With the high-profile task force engineering the state's next bid, the Tiger Star says old territorial rivalries aren't what they used to be.
There's an old wives' tale that the state's divided at Campbelltown between the north and the south, but if you saw the media and what they're doing at the moment with the Tassie team push, certainly the state's united behind getting a team.
I think they're getting really good traction at the moment. Again, that's something I'm passionate about, being a Tasmanian.
The task force is aiming to enter a team in 2023 to coincide with the next broadcast deal. The
numbers might not stack up financially for the AFL to look at it and see it as a money earner, but there is tradition in this game and there is history in this game, and Tasmania is one state that has provided its fair share.
It's a serious campaign, it's T23, it's to get a side out of Tasmania.
Proof the idea is starting to pass the pub test.
And the AFL, they've actually said that they're supporting it as well, as long as they play their home games on the Gold Coast or Western Sydney. So.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Heavy rains, strong winds and possibly even flash flooding could be on the way for parts of the state. Authorities are warning Tasmanians to prepare for wild weather, especially those on the east coast. For more, we're now joined live by reporter Sean McComish. Sean, this is not the sunny start to spring we were hoping for.
Not at all, Joe. Definitely not time to pack away the puffer jacket just yet. A severe weather warning has been issued for the northwest, North, Furneaux Islands and East Coast. A flood watch warning has also been issued for the northeast, southeast, Derwent and Huon catchments. Authorities are warning of damaging northeast to easterly winds of up to 90 kilometres an hour from Swan to Tasman Island. Those conditions are expected from Friday afternoon and until Saturday. Between 40 and 80 millimetres of rain is also expected to fall across the east tomorrow.
The rainfall amounts that we're forecasting could damage infrastructure with flash flooding. So people along the east and in the north should prepare their property ahead of the event tomorrow.
If you're out and about, be aware of flash flooding. Do not drive, walk or ride in floodwaters. Watch out for a lot of debris on the roads after the water has gone through.
There is some good news in all of this. The rain could finally bring some relief to the drought-stricken East Coast, but the Tasmanian Farmers and Graziers Association says it still won't be enough. Jo?
All right, we'll get the brolly back out. Thank you very much for that, Sean. There's hope on the horizon for a solution to Tasmania's recycling stockpile, with plastic set to resume processing interstate. As receivers push forward with a new plan in the wake of SKM's collapse, the message of recycling is also being spread by the younger generation.
There's something special on board this recycling truck. It's a prize for Bowen Road Primary School students, one of the winners of the Wasted Art competition. Their design unveiled on the side of the truck to be shown off as it weaves through the city streets.
So the students have come up with a very clear idea here: keep it green, keep it clean. And they're trying to show Glenorchy City Council and all the community on how we at Bowen Road can keep our planet clean.
To encourage the children to participate in waste education and to ensure that they can get their message out there about the importance of waste management.
Spreading an important message at a time where concerns are high over the future of recycling in the Greater Hobart region. Processor SKM has gone into receivership. Its Derwent Park facility has been stockpiling recyclables with nowhere to go. But finally, there's an end in sight.
We have been working very closely with Quartermet, the receivers and managers of the site at Derwent Park, and we certainly are very confident about the future for that particular site. So it's business as usual. The stockpile is being reduced as we speak.
Quartermentha, the receivers of SKM, say plastic should begin being removed from this site by the end of the month, as the company's interstate recycling operations are fired up again.
It's business as usual at the Derwent Park facility with SKM's operations there. We encourage residents in southern Tasmania to continue putting their recyclables out.
A message echoed by the next generation. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
Water has just been restored to the final residence cut off by a burst water main on Hobart's eastern shore. Repair crews have been on the site most of today, working to fix the water supply to approximately 100 affected properties in Belrive, Rosny Park and Warrane. The outage was initially reported at 8:30 this morning, with Taswater confirming all households were reconnected by 4:30 p.m. A Tasmanian country music singer who's returned home after spending more than a decade abroad in London and Nashville is set to feature at Launceston's Junction Arts Festival. Ange Boxall is starring in Guts, Grit and Lipstick, Queens of Country at Princes Square for the next 3 nights. It's her first ever cabaret-style performance.
It is different. You're letting down some other barriers. It's quite intimate. You're letting out some little tales of my life and of the lives of these women and their songs.
It's the world premiere at Junction, so we're all pretty excited, but I have no qualms. It's going to be a terrific show. She's an amazing singer.
There will also be installations and projections on churches surrounding the square as part of the festival, which finishes on Sunday. Year 12 students at St Patrick's College have taken on a gruelling challenge, cycling, swimming and running for 24 hours as a final hurrah before end-of-year exams. It's part of the annual Lap It Up triathlon fundraiser, which raises money for the college's sister school in Tanzania, as well as 4 local charities.
It's definitely going to be tough. It's going to be freezing, like even in the pool at like 4 a.m. is going to be pretty cold. But yeah, it's all for a good cause.
The students are hoping to raise more than $25,000 this year.
It's one of our last opportunities as Year 12s to do something all together as a community within ourselves. We've been with each other right through from Year 7 to now, so a bit of a last push before end of year exams here.
The fundraiser finishes at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Back home to the TSL, and it's do or die time for Launceston and Glenorchy as the sides prepare to meet in the semi-final. The Blues are keen to continue their impressive recent form, while the Pies will be out for redemption following a narrow loss to Lauderdale.
The Pies coach raised issue with AFL Tasmania about the standard of umpiring following the side's 6-point loss to Lauderdale in last weekend's qualifying final.
Last year, Gillon McLaughlin came down and said money's no object, so I think we should take him up on that offer and, you know, go out there and find a really good, experienced, full-time umpires manager who can be really riding shotgun with these young umpires and help them get better.
Something his side will be hoping to do against Launceston at home this Saturday, but Kennedy remains wary of the rampaging Blues, who've come away with the result in their past 2 outings at KG5.
Lonnie can move the ball incredibly well. They really take the game on. They're set up well ahead of the footy, and so that they can put a heap of pressure on your defence very quickly.
We're really respectful of their coaching group and of their players. They've got some A-grade players around the footy and in front of the ball, so we need to be on our game.
And with finals a different beast, the Blues coach isn't reading too much into previous matches with the Pies, with the boys from Windsor Park flying high after winning their first finals game on home soil for more than a decade against the Tigers.
The brand of football that we played was probably the most pleasing part. We play a finals brand, contested ball, lots of tackles.
And with the sides boasting quality all over the ground, it's the battle in the middle that both coaches are desperately hoping to get the better of, or else it's dream done for 2019.
That's where they really try and own territory on you, so they win hard ball, they get it going forward and they keep it going forward.
We've got some big guys around the ball that enjoy that style of football, so I dare say being a final at their home ground, it'll be pretty combative.
The opening bounce is at 2:30 on Saturday.
Meanwhile, Lilydale will try to cap off a perfect season in this weekend's NTFA Division 1 Grand Final. The undefeated Demons will play St Pat's, a side which hasn't had premiership glory since 2004.
It's fitting the Saints and the Demons are fighting for this holy grail. St Pat's wants to wash the sins of 2015 when the side lost the grand final after finishing the regular season undefeated.
I think there would be all of about 3 or 4 players from it, so pretty much started from scratch, and it's been a bit of a process since then to try and get things right.
Now the tables have turned. Lilydale boasts an unblemished record in 2019.
If you want to knock us off, just keep coming, and I'll say the same to St Pat's. If you want that premiership, we've got our hands on it. You just come try and get it off us.
While recruiting players is part and parcel of local footy in the modern age, both clubs pride themselves on promoting homegrown talent.
14 to 15 of the players in this senior team actually ex-schoolboys.
We've got, I think it's 17 Lilydale High School boys playing tomorrow in our senior side. Well, I don't reckon any other country club could say that in this day where you've got to go out and recruit players.
The league's expecting a big crowd here at Windsor Park for Saturday's decider. Both clubs have strong supporter bases, and although Lilydale goes in as the hot favourite, St Pat's doesn't mind the underdog tag.
It's a big ask, but we're very confident internally.
We've had a few weeks off, so I guess we'll be scratchy early, but hopefully our composure can pull through in the end.
While in the league's Premier Division, Longford faces Hillwood for a spot in the grand final against Bridge North. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
To hockey, and Derwent will head into Saturday's Premier League Grand Final as heavy favourites, but the minor premiers won't be taking anything for granted against the competition's other benchmark side in OHA.
We're pretty happy with our game plan already. They've got a few key players that we will hope to shut down early, and as long as we do that and everyone puts in, we're confident we'll come away with a win.
While OHA are keen to provide the upset and clinch a fairy tale title in their 100th year as a club.
We're not too fazed by the previous results, but yeah, we'll just take it as it comes, give it our all in the final.
The match begins at 2 p.m. and is set to be followed by the men's decider.
Good evening. Temperatures today ranged from -5 at Lieweenie to 17 in Launceston, Hobart 15 degrees, Burnie 12 and Devonport 13. Friendly Beaches 16 today, King Island 15, St Helens, Grove, Ouse and Strawn 14, Low Head and Flinders Island 13 degrees. Lieweenie did warm up to 10. A few showers fell over the west and south with low cloud over the east as well. Thunderclouds started to move over the northwest later in the day. Now we can see that circular cloud band to our west with bright thunderstorm clouds over South Australia, mainly clear elsewhere apart from scattered cloud over the oceans to the south. Tomorrow, the complex low pressure zone intensifies over Tasmania and Victoria. A cold front pushes up to Queensland. A trough extends through northern Australia. East-northeasterly winds tomorrow, getting up to 20 to 30 knots at times, but increasing to 35 knots as well, and particularly moving southerly over the west coast later in the day. A severe weather warning for heavy rain and damaging winds for northern and eastern Tasmania. A gale warning from Sandy Cape to Stanley and from Cape Portland to Tasman Island. A strong wind warning for remaining coastal waters except the southwest. We have a road weather alert for most districts, a flood watch for most river catchments, and a warning to sheep graziers for the north and east. So the wild weather's on the way, particularly over the east coast. Rain and possible heavy falls for Hobart as well. 12 tomorrow, 13 the top for Huonville, some heavy falls. Same for Campania, a top of 13 after a fairly cool night. 13 for Launceston. Top of 12 for Devonport and Georgetown, all with that heavy falls in the offing tomorrow. We have 12 degrees for Burnie, rain, possible heavy falls, 11 for Strawn, same forecast for Wynyard, and 13 degrees. It's not missing too many at all. 13 the top for St Helens and Swansea with that same forecast, and wet weather and a windy day for Port Arthur and 14. On Saturday, rain easing a bit from the east with showers elsewhere. Showers again on Sunday over the west, more likely in the afternoon with snow down to 500 metres. A shower or two on Monday, mainly over the west and south, easing in the afternoon. A cold start for Perth tomorrow, but a sunny, windy day later. A windy, showery day in Adelaide. Add some hail to that for Melbourne. Partly cloudy over Sydney. A sunny 34 degrees in Brisbane, and sunny in Alice Springs with the chance of dust. Not much dust around here. It's going to be wet tomorrow. 9 right now in Hobart, mostly clear in Launceston, 10 and partly cloudy in Devonport. Lots of bad weather on the way. Joe, to keep in touch, I'd say we better get on the Bureau's website to keep ourselves updated.
That's all from the team for now. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you a bit later with updates. Bye-bye.